Question 5 looks at in the month of July, a Popular Bar and Grill had food sales for 21,345 and bar sales for 40,673. Just a few easy questions. What percent of the total sales were the food and what percent of the total sales were the drinks? So one thing that they didn't give us in this question was the total sales. So we need to add up everything that we sold, and in this case we only had food sales and bar sales. So when we do add those two together, we get total sales of 62,118. That becomes our base number. So now we're going to look for the food sales percent. So we're going to take the food sales and we're going to put it up here, and we're going to divide it by the total sales to get the percent of what that is. Very simple calculation. Food sales divided by total sales, rounded off to one decimal place, we have 34.4%. Or in other words, our food sales accounted for 34.4% of our total sales. As for the bar sales, we just use the bar sales number, still dividing it by total sales, and we get a rounded number of 65.6%, or again, 65.6% accounted for the food sales compared to the total sales. Now, the other thing to do when you're checking on this is, since we only had two items and we have the percents of both, those percentages should add up to 100. It's the only thing we sold, food and drinks. So if you add those percents and you get 100%, you know that you've done things correctly here. Question 6 deals with inflation, and the inflation rate last year was 4.5%. What we want to do is figure out the average inflation rate per month. So it's a little bit like unit costing. We're going to take what it was for the year and we're going to divide it by how many months there are in a year. Or 4.5% divided by 12 months gives us an inflation rate of 0.375% per month. Now we move on to look at the side of the cost of a side of beef. Today is $1.69. We want to figure out what the price will be 7 months from now using the inflation rate we just calculated here. So basically we have to add 7 months of inflation to this price. So we're going to first of all take the monthly inflation rate of 0.375% and multiply it by 7 months. There's what 7 months of inflation is. We now must add that to the cost of 1 pound of beef. So there's our cost for a side of beef. We're going to multiply it by the 2.625% and then add it into the price for the side of beef. Or again, to skip one step, $1.69 times 1.02625, the decimal equivalent of 2.625%, and we end up with the same price, of course. Doesn't matter which method you use, but rounded off to the nearest cent. In 7 months from now, what used to cost $1.69 will now cost $1.74. Welcome to what inflation does. Question 7. A caterer charges $18.50 per person for their most popular buffet. If you have over 200 guests, there's a 10% discount. If you have more than 300 guests, there's a 15% discount. And if it's a seniors group, there's an additional 5%. So let's figure out what it's going to cost us for a wedding reception with 240 guests. We're going to first start off by taking the price of the plate and multiplying it by the amount of customers to give us a total undiscounted bill of $4,440. But of course, since we have 240 guests, that is over 200 people, so we get a 10% discount. So let's calculate that. $4,440 times 10% means that we are saving $440, so that we can subtract our discount from the original purchase to show that our discounted total after 10% has been removed will be $3,996 instead of $4,490. Of course, we could have done the original price, $4,490 multiplied by 90%. And why 90%, you ask? Well, if we're saving 10%, we only have to pay for 90% of the price. So if you multiply a number by 90%, you get 90% of that number, which, as you can see, gets us to the same place. Again, it doesn't matter which method you use, as long as you show me what you're doing, you show me the unrounded answer, and you round if you're asked to. So let's look at a seniors party with 90 people. So $18.50 times 90 would be a regular cost of $16.65. But because it's a seniors, they get a 5% discount. And 5% of $16.65 is $83.25. So of course you're going to subtract the discount from the original bill to get the new discounted price of $1,581.75. Or once again, you could have taken the original price of $1,665 and multiplied it by 95 cents. Of course, 95 cents is what we have to pay if we're saving 5%, and you see that we get to the same price. A group of seniors with 330 people there. Well, again, let's just look at what all of this means. $18.50 times 330, forgive me for that little zero, we get a bill for $6,150. That would be the undiscounted price. But we are going to discount 20% because they get the 15% volume discount. They have 300 or more than 300 people, so they get 15% off. And of course, they get the additional 5% seniors discount. So $6,105 times 20%. There's the value of that 20%. They're going to save $1,221. So we subtract that from the original total, and there is the discounted total they would have to pay, $4,884. Or once again, a quicker way if you understand it, there's the undiscounted price. We're going to multiply it by 80% because that's all we have to pay. We're saving 20%. There's only 80% left. And once we do that, we again get the very same price. And finally, the last question in exercise 7-2. A waitress has made $202.50 in wages and $262 in tips. The value of the drinks she served was $1,440.80. Let's figure out the money earned in tips as a percent. We will first try to figure out her money earned in tips as a percent of her total drink sales. So her total drink sales was $1,440.80. So we will take her tips, we will divide it by the total drink sales, we get the unrounded answer, and round it off to one decimal place. We see that she indeed earned 18.2% of her total drinks served in tips. The next question is, how much did she earn, or the percent earned in tips from her total earnings? Well, first we must calculate her total earnings. We will take her tips, we will add it to the wages that she earned, and see that her total earnings are $464.50. So once again, we start off with the tips, we divide it by her total earnings, we get an unrounded answer, rounded to one decimal place, we see 56.4%. Or in other words, she earned 56.4% of her total earnings through her tips.